Hey guys, sorry I didn't post anything on Christmas. I just wanted to spend some time off for the holidays. And you probably wouldn't even watch it anyways because you should also spend some time with your family and your loved ones. But here I am and I wanted to make this little reflection video of my past year. And instead of making this super positive, this was the best year of my life video like everyone's gonna do, I wanted to make a reflection of all the bad mistakes I've made throughout this year. It doesn't mean that this year wasn't awesome, I also made some mistakes. So, this is the first of 5 biggest mistakes I've made in 2017. So, as some of you may know, this was the year that I finally got my driver's license. And that's not a mistake, that's actually awesome. But the way I did it was just a little bit stupid. I wanted to get my driver's license right before my trip back to Latvia, and that was in the beginning of June. And I had booked an exam just 2 weeks before my trip, and I really wanted to get my driver's license at that time so that I could maybe rent a car back at home or anything, but I really wanted it. So I booked my exam, but my driver instructor just bailed on me. So I had no driver's instructor to take me to the exam. And here in the UK, you can't just take your own car, and the examiners don't have their car, so you have to take the instructor's car. So without the instructor, I can't take my exam. So I kind of panicked because I was really concentrated on getting the driver's license right before I go back to home so that I would get it, and then I could show off everyone that I have a license now, and it would be awesome. And I quickly found this really old, lovely lady who was a driver's instructor. And she told me that I would only need 2 or max 3 lessons before the exam and I would be ready to go. She also said that she has over 20 years of experience in teaching young students to drive and they always pass, so I trusted her. I think in those last 2 weeks she kind of noticed how desperate I am and maybe how naive I am about getting my driver's license, so she kind of used it on me. And instead of those 2 or max 3 lessons, we did 9 lessons in that 1 week or 9 days that were left. So I ended up spending about £500 on those driving lessons, which was pretty much my whole holiday money that I had saved. And because I really wanted that driver's license and I was really oblivious of what actually is happening, I kept taking those lessons because I just wanted that license. So the day before the exam, she just told me that she's not gonna take me to the exam because she doesn't think I'm ready for the exam and she doesn't want to ruin her pass score for her students because it's so high. So I went on my holiday without no driver's license, without no money, and I never saw that old bitch again. I got my driver's license after like 3 months after I came back from my holiday, and I guess I learned that you shouldn't push things too fast, especially if you're gonna lose a shit tons of money. Okay, so this is my second mistake, and please don't judge me about this one. But a couple of months ago, my girlfriend and I decided to take this little day trip to Ayr, and it's the closest place that has seaside and beach from Glasgow. So we went there, and obviously I did take my drone to get some awesome shots. And when we were walking there, it was sunny and it was beautiful, and I saw a lot of the awesome places that would look amazing from air and from sky. It was kind of a windy day, but we were in a really open space next to the sea, so I decided I'll fly up my drone and see what's happening. So I flew about a few minutes and everything was completely fine. I had all the control. So I decided to fly a little bit further away from us because there was this really amazing looking old abandoned bridge, and I thought if I would take pictures of that, it would be really amazing. So I flew a little bit further than that, and I could still see everything in my screen and I had a good signal. And when I got to the bridge, I took some photos and the wind started blowing really badly. So I decided that I'll come back to the place where I could see the drone or just land. And I slowly started to lose control of my drone after I took a few pictures, and I kind of panicked because the drone was flying itself now because the wind was blowing it away. And I pressed the return to home button, which kind of automatically makes the drone fly back home. And you kind of shouldn't do that because it flies in half of the power that it usually does when you're in control, so that it doesn't lose the battery. And the wind could blow it even further away, but my heart was racing. I didn't know what to do, so I pressed it and I didn't know what's happening because I couldn't see my drone anymore. So I looked into my phone screen and I saw that the drone is slowly coming back to me, so the distance was smaller and smaller. So it took the drone about a little bit over a minute of driving itself, and it finally came back home and it landed next to me, and everything was just fine. It landed safely, nobody was hurt, but I was really scared if I would lose my drone and what if it crashes, and I was really scared. So since then I'm really careful about the conditions before I fly, so please don't judge me about this one. I know that there's drone rules and regulations, but even without those, we all know that all of us at some point have made some bad decisions with flying drones when we were beginners. So don't give me shit about that, please. And if you haven't made any mistakes and you're super careful and super perfect, well, then you can go and fuck yourself. Another mistake that I made was with Ruta when we decided to fly to Barcelona. So we kind of made this mistake together, so it kind of makes me feel better about myself. Instead of just getting a hotel like normal people do, we decided to try out the Airbnb. We found this little cute room that was next to the beach and it was cheap. So we decided that we're gonna rent that one, and after reading all the descriptions that they put out and all the reviews, it seemed like a fine deal, so we took that room, and everything was written in perfect English, and because we didn't know any Spanish, we wanted to stay in a place that speaks English. When we arrived at Barcelona city center, we both had a hand luggage and a backpack. We were really tired and it was slowly getting dark. They gave us random bus numbers to take without explaining where the bus stops are. Then we had to take different metros without explaining where the metros are and how to buy a ticket for that. So it was really complicated and confusing, and after that we just spent about 2 hours googling everything ourselves, and we found out the easiest way to get there. And it was really dark outside, and after that we still had to find their house because we just got out at the right stop. They didn't even seem to be very interested to even pick us up from the closest subway or metro station that they had. And when we entered their house, it didn't really seem like they're waiting for guests or anything, which is fine, I'm not asking for that. But then it turns out they don't even speak English, a single word. How they got all those nice reviews and how they got a perfectly written description in English is unknown, but they weren't polite at all. They didn't care about the fact that we are their guests, and they didn't care about the fact that we paid their whole month's bills in just 1 week. And the guy who was one of the hosts was really creepy. He kept playing YouTube videos loudly at 3 a.m. and just, it wasn't a really nice experience at all. And we had to use the same bathroom and toilet with them, but the creepy fact was that the bathroom and toilet didn't have a lock, so they could open the doors at any time. And the creepiest part was that they had this little window that went straight from your shower into the kitchen. So if anybody's in the kitchen and you're taking a shower, they can see you, or the other way around, which is super fucked up. We couldn't ask them anything, we couldn't talk to them because they didn't speak English. It was really hard and awkward communication. They always stayed at home, so whenever we wanted to go out or in, it just felt like we're, I don't know, back at home with our parents, which we don't know, and they don't speak to us. But anyways, it was a really bad experience, and we're never gonna do the same thing again. And I'm not saying all Airbnb hosts are bad, but I would definitely suggest getting a whole apartment so that no one lives with you in there, or maybe they just have hidden cameras, who the fuck knows. Just do it like we're gonna do it from now on, and we're always just booking hotels. Okay, so the next mistake. This mistake actually isn't from this year, but it still keeps me up at night, so I'm gonna talk about this one as well. So basically, when we moved here in the winter, we didn't really know the difference between Latvian apartments and UK flats and how the rent and billing happens. One thing that is really completely weird is the fact that here in UK you have water heating boilers, which means that whenever you want to use hot water, you have to turn it on and then it heats the water and then you have the hot water. Back at home is just you turn it on and you have hot water, that's it. Like, it just comes straight from the sink. So for the first 2 months that we lived here, the hot water was always turned on so that we would always have hot water. And it turns out that here in the UK, to warm up the water is super expensive. So you should just turn it on, use the hot water and turn it off. But we had it turned on 24/7 for 2 whole months, so it was always boiling the water. Because we just thought that's normal and we didn't receive any electrical bills, so it just kept going. And electricity actually costs here a lot more in general than back at home. So basically in Latvia you would pay about £10 if you're really spending all the electricity and you don't care about anything. But here, if you're really careful, you save up and you try to be using the electricity to the minimum, you would still pay already like £80 a month without that water boiling all the time. So after 2 months we finally received our first electrical bill, and we had to pay £500 for just 2 months of living here. And obviously I was super shocked, so I called up the electrical company and asked them like, what the fuck, why is my bill so high? Maybe they made a mistake, because that's not normal. They checked up on their systems and everything, and it seemed like it's correct. We've actually spent that much electricity. I still said that it's not okay. It's 250 a month for, like, we were still being cheap. We didn't have that much money to spend, so where did the bill come from? So she told me to check all the appliances that we have at house, and maybe something's like wasting energy. And after I've checked all the things, she told me that maybe your water boiler is still on, because that usually takes a lot of electricity and then you have a huge bill. And then I finally found that little button that you could turn off the water. I turned it off, and after that the bills were quite alright. I mean, they're still higher than back in Latvia, but quite alright for here. So it took us a couple of months to pay off that electricity bill, but it's all alright now, and at least we learned that if we ever decide to move again to another country or anything, we will first definitely check how their electricity bills and systems work. Because paying 500 for warm water that we didn't really use is just kind of a little lame. Okay, so this is finally my last mistake, which I actually managed to make just a couple of days ago. So you know how I have this iPhone 5 for like a billion years, so it finally said bye-bye and it died. The last time I tried to charge it, I tried to charge it with 4 different iPhone chargers because none of them worked on my phone, but they all worked perfectly fine on Ruta's phone. Just didn't charge. So when the battery died, when the battery slowly went down, the phone just turned off and I couldn't turn it back on. So I needed a new phone, and I bought a new phone on eBay. The description said that the battery only lasts for 2 hours. That's why it's so cheap. And because my old iPhone like barely lasted 2 hours, I thought like that's cool, like 2 hours is good enough for me, like it's iPhone, whatever. So I bought it, and it came like a couple of days ago. And instead of 2 hours, it actually lasts like 6 minutes from full charge. So from 100% to like 6%, yeah, it just takes like checking Instagram pictures and you're done. So yeah, the battery is actually really dead. I mean, the iPhone looks great, like it's just straight, just like in the pictures. It's beautiful, it has few scratches, a really good deal, but yeah, the battery is dead. But it's alright now because I already ordered a new battery replacement from eBay. When will I learn? So when the battery comes, I'll replace it myself and everything should be fine. But that's the thing with eBay, you never know what you're gonna get. Maybe it's gonna be a good one, maybe not. But should be fine, so it's all cool. And that's kind of it. Obviously I made a lot more tiny mistakes, but I don't want to mention all of them because... But if you have any embarrassing mistakes that you want to share with me, you could leave them in the comment section so I don't feel so alone and so stupid. Alright guys, I hope you have the best New Year's Eve ever, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!